What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. Today, we're doing a build guide and overview for one of the titans of the AoE meta, the Kuva Ogris. I've been asked what my build for this is a lot, as it is the meta weapon for arbitration drone destroying, and it's actually just good in general. So we'll be going over that today, and I'll show you what some elements you can run here, what good Riven stats are, and why it actually is meta for certain things in this game. Before we get into it though, make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel and make sure you check out the live stream channel as well, because we live stream a lot more than before. Okay, so the Kuva Ogris. Let's look at what the stats are like without any mods. This is actually unmodded right now. So the Kuva Ogris is basically the Kuva version of the normal Ogris. And what we got here is that we've got a 3-round magazine with a really long 2.1 reload. So this is the biggest downfall of the weapon actually, is these two stats right here. Low magazine, slow reload. This combined is why you need to basically, this weapon wants some buffing from outside in one way or another. You can get a Harrow reload buff, you can get a Chroma reload buff. That's what's going to bottleneck you because you want to spam this thing all over the place. We've got 9% crit chance and 2x multiplier. It's not a crit weapon at all, as you can see with a 47% status chance. This thing actually has some of the highest status proc potential in the entire game, guys. So if you get since it's a Kuva weapon, you can choose what element you get. If you get a magnetic one or a radiation one, you can get tons and tons of different statuses. We'll go over that in a little bit here. So the shot that you fire off this rocket, it will deal impact and puncture, not counting what you're modding for, what the Kuva bonus is. And then the explosion of the rocket you fire off has 7.9 range with puncture, slash, and blast damage. And of course, like we said like 3 times over, it also has the Kuva bonus. You're looking at a 60% radiation Kuva Ogris right here. And other elements that are really good are also Toxin and Heat. And of course, if you want to go down, like, honestly, every element in the game is fine for the Kuva Ogris. But what you do want to make sure you do is, I'd say try to go for a 60% roll on your Kuva Ogris, as some of the mods we'll be utilizing and the way that you build this thing, it really benefits a lot from having the maximum bonus. So right here we got 60%. I had Toxin before. Toxin's great. Heat's great. Every element's great. Even Impact, you could probably make it work with like an Impact build, or not just run the normal build, but just have Impact on there. Okay, so that's with no mods. Here's what a modded build's gonna look like. This is the one I usually run for arbitrations. Now, keep in mind, I do have a really good Riven that I usually replace Vigilante armaments for, but it's gonna work fine without a Riven if you just run this build, basically. So, Prime Bane the Grenier, whenever you're in a mission, like against arbitration drones, they will be turned into the faction you are fighting against currently. So if you're in a Grenier arbitration, run Prime Bane the Grenier. If you're an infested one, run Prime Bane of the Infested, and you see where this is going. So we'll be just testing against some Grenier in the simulacrum, so we'll stick with this for now. And we're going to go with Corrosive. Now, the biggest thing here is that the Nightwatch Napalm mod is a unique mod for the Ogris that lets you... If you've seen people spamming the Ogris all over the place, this is probably why you know they have an Ogris. Rockets dispense Napalm, inflicting damage over 6 seconds across 90% of the explosion area. So increasing the blast radius of this weapon will make this explosion and fire bigger. So you want to run Prime Firestorm 100%. This is a staple mod. I know it's really, really expensive plat-wise. I'm hoping Barrow brings it back soon, because this is a meta mod right here, guys. It is really, really essential. And you can take it even further by putting on a explosion stat stick like the Firax Wraith, or just normal Firax for credits, and running the Amalgam Firax Body Count mod. You don't have to do this, but you might as well, because you're going to be killing everything with the AoE rocket launcher anyway, so whatever. And if you want to buff reload speed, there's Elemental Ward from Chroma with the Toxin version, giving you increased reload speed. Alright, let's show it on some enemies here in the simulacrum with no Riven. We've of course got Primary Merciless, because I told you the reload speed's really bad. You're going to want to buff that reload speed in some way. Now this weapon is not actually meant for heavily armored Grenier like this, but with enough buffing it could one-shot them easily. So let's just show how it is with no Merciless stacked up. This is just like raw base damage. So as you can see, fire procs on the Nightwatch Napalm covering nearly the entire group. It's doing like next to no damage though. So that's why you need to get your stuff stacked up. You need to get your Merciless stacks. You need to get your like honestly Rhino Roars and stuff like that. If you're trying to min-max and kill stuff fast, you need to buff this thing, because it does not have crit to carry it. Unlike the Brahma and the Ogris, or the Brahma and the Tsar, its main competition, those weapons have crit. They can crutch on 100 munitions. They can go for the crit multiplier and all that. The fact this weapon is not crit weapon really holds it back as far as like high-end scaling. It can kill the Steel Path, but I'm going to recommend to you, if you're using this as a main DPS source in the steel path, you're going to want to give it a little bit of help somehow. Maybe a breach surge, maybe a roar, maybe a smite infusion. Now let's try that again with the full merciless stacks. We got about 10 merciless stacks here, and it will be slightly better, but still not as good as you would hope. Now that fire right there, that fire on the ground, the damage from that scales with how much percentage you have on your Kuva Ogris. That's why I say this is one of the few weapons that you like really want 60% elemental. And these guys are level 185. Some of the tankiest guys can summon in here, so don't take this as like a bad thing. We're going to show you why this is meta and why this is better than the Kuvas are in some situations. Also, just let's quickly go over Nightwatch Napalm a little bit more before we get into that. So that's not Nightwatch Napalm. Here we are. So for Nightwatch Napalm, we'll go over some gameplay and then we'll just talk about it. So the reason that you want like really high like base damage and stuff like that is because this does not crit. The fire from Nightwatch Napalm does not crit. It scales up other things. It scales off base damage, outside buffs, so we're talking like Rhino Roar, Mirage Eclipse, etc. It also scales off of plus heat damage mods on your build. So if you're trying to go for like a heat proc build with this, you might want to run a plus heat mod. The things we're using this weapon, that I'm using this weapon for, do not require any stash chance at all, which is why we went for 90% elementals and not 60s, because it has enough stash chance. You don't even need to bump it up, in my opinion. Also, Galvanized Aptitude is not supposed to work on this, and it probably doesn't, as far as DE is concerned. So, yeah, you want to just basically go for raw upfront damage. God Roll Rivens for this thing are actually like multi-shot damage and not really any crit stats. I've got a crit damage one just for fun. You could also go for an elemental because we're just going for raw damage. As you can see, we're getting some crits in here, but I am running a Teeming Virulent Nidus, giving me like increased crit chance. So you don't normally get this many crits with the Ogris, but it can definitely like take care of the Steel Path Grenier with minimal buffing. I think we were about 100 kills per minute, which is decent rate. You know, the Tsar and the Brahma can definitely kill faster than this thing on the Steel Path against Grenier, but let's just go. There's gonna be a full arbitration like revisited guide on a couple days here, but let's just go over why this thing is meta for specific things. Then we'll talk about the weapon grades and all that. The Acolyte kill speed is nothing special. It's honestly like an average, slightly above average grade for killing Acolytes. So we've got mob clearing at S. I'd say this is definitely in the upper pantheon of those AoE weapons, even without the crit, which is hilarious. Acolyte kill speed, it's B. Slightly above average. It's going to take a couple shots to kill him unless you're like hardcore buffing yourself. But you know, it still does get the job done. On this scale, we do put the terrible weapons like, you know, like the Kestrel and all that against Acolytes. So that's why it's B. It probably, you know, if you were only comparing the meta stuff, it's not good at killing Acolytes at all. So yeah, there's that. But let's just go over. So the max stats potential is S, and you know why I say that it's S and this is an S tier weapon? Because it has so many different applications. Like let's just show how many statuses you can potentially get in this thing. It's actually kind of silly. So the gameplay is like, you know, just burn everything down. It's nothing too crazy. But here we are with the max status build. And this is a radiation one, like I said. You could go magnetic to go for viral. It's gonna be hard to keep track of all these. Viral magnetic heat, impact puncture / blast. With this build right here, with a radiation roll, we've got impact puncture, radiation, gas, magnetic, blast, and slash. And then there's also the heat from the Nightwatch Napalm as well. So, and we got 200% stash chance. So you're proccing all that stuff basically. Let's just show like one shot how much status these guys get on them. Now keep in mind, the fire of the Nightwatch Napalm does not proc all this stuff. The direct impact of the shot will though. So that is over an entire bar of statuses from one bullet from this thing. And the fire is going to CC them, so pretty nice if you can get the lucky roll like we just got in that first guy. Now, are all these statuses useful? I mean, maybe if you're using Galvanized Aptitude or Conditioned Overload, but as far as a DPS source, you don't really go for this build for DPS source. So, yeah, as far as like doing low-level missions, just throw a reload mod on here on the normal build. So, like, we just got this right here. You don't need as much damage for low levels, or a Bane mod for that matter, so just take off the Bane mod, put on this, maybe put your Riven here if you got a Riven, or just put some like Fire Rate or... The funny thing is there's only one reload speed mod for rifles. Like, this is literally all we have. We have Prime Fast Hands, and then we have Tainted Mag, which gives you minus reload speed, and then Spring Loaded Chamber, which does it's on reload you get increased fire rate. There is literally only one reload mod, which is kind of weird. With how many mods we have, we get one reload mod for rifles. Okay, so let's go over why this is the meta for arbitrations and why you should get it if you are looking to farm arbitrations. Also, heavy caliber is going to make the rockets fly over the place and give you more fire coverage across the map. As you can see right there, they're usually pinpoint accurate, but now we can cover more area because the rockets spread out from heavy calibers, reduced accuracy. Alright, so we're going to do a Tsar and Brahma comparison here on an arbitration drone, and I'll show you why this is meta. Now, arbitration drones have some special mechanics to them. These are the guys that hold on to the Vitus Essence in the arbitrations, and they have superior shield gating. When I say superior shield gating, what I mean is that since they have no headshot, they cannot be one-shot. Also, toxin damage does not bypass their shields like most enemy shields. So the way you can actually kill these guys, basically every other weapon in the game cannot one-shot them, but this can if you get a direct hit. I did not get a direct hit there, but as you can see, the fire is ticking on them. What the purpose of this is you want to actually hardcore buff yourself. So let's say something like, we have Eclipse on Chroma here, perfect. You want to buff yourself, so the second that the fire of the Kuva Ogris augment mod goes out, it will instantly burn them to death. You usually need 2 instances of damage. We are technically playing by the rules and having the 2 instances of damage, but we're buffing it really hard. So you can actually kill those through walls across the map, and we'll show you some gameplay right here of that. Well, actually, let's just show how the Tsar cannot really do that. If you got really lucky with the Tsar and Bomb Blitz, you maybe could, but let's just show how that is. Because the Bomb Blitz from the Tsar, it drops afterwards, do deal some damage, and you could technically one-shot, but it's not going to happen very often. So we're going to also just be fair and buff it. Okay, well, see, we did get a crit on the Bomb Blitz there, which is going to, definitely help us out. So let's show it in an RB right here, and we can, talk about some other stuff. So if you have, here's one of the problems. Look at how hard it is to see right now. If you have 4 people with the Ogris in your squad and you're like nuking down RBs like the meta strat like this is, good luck to your computer, honestly, because it's gonna put a toll on it, to be honest. Like, we got 4 Ogris spams. I got a multi-shot Riven. These other guys probably got multi-shot Rivens too. It's pretty rough. Also, it's kind of nice how this, like, if a new drone does spawn, the fire on the ground will kill the freshly spawned drones as well. So that's pretty nice. I know that comparison I just showed right there made the Tsar look better, but trust me, that was just, the drones aren't normally that low on the ground. That guy was literally paused, sitting there, and in actual practical applications in missions, using Nightwatch Napalm is better than using a Kuva Tsar or a Brahma. You could still use them, like I said, but for optimal gameplay, go for the Ogris guys. So yeah, overall, really powerful weapon. Like I said earlier, you can go for whatever element you want, maybe just whatever ephemera you don't already have. As you can saw right there, we did one-shot the drone right there in this clip right here. So really nice. You can go for impact. It has a guaranteed impact proc on the rocket directly hitting, apparently, but it's not like it's going to make it like a hemorrhage viable weapon or anything like that. And also this Ogris skin, it comes from, it's the Ogris rocket launcher skin. Very creative name there. I don't know if you can still get this. Honestly, I'm not sure. I got it for free for downloading the game on Epic. And yeah, so like as far as Rivens, just big damage. Look how much our damage goes up by equipping this Riven. We get another 10,000 damage nearly. And since we have crit damage on here, we get another 1.9 multiplier. The reason I like crit damage on here is because when you're running an arbitration, you're usually running a Smita to give you double steel or double Vitus Essence sometimes. One of the buffs the Smita can give you is a guaranteed orange crit buff, which, when you have crit damage on there, it makes the orange crits actually a lot better. So yeah, let's just see if we can one-shot the drone one more time while he's standing there. And it was close enough. So, like, that's going to be really, really your best bet, guys. The arbitration full guide will be coming out very soon. I'm going to be working on that. I've got so much footage to comb through. So, hopefully this video was helpful to you. It is really good in normal mission gameplay, too. Like, it's an instant rocket. Like, the reload is pretty bad, but, the Tsar's reload is also pretty bad. So, if you run Chroma Elemental Ward, look how much faster this is. Very, very nice. And that will be in the arbitration video. So, I'll see you guys on that one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great new year. Peace.